the Wellness Park Pharmacy at 86th and Buffalo Avenue and the Community Medical Pharmacy on Michigan Avenue just off Main Street, you're not just another customer, and your needs are important. To them, you're a somebody.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Now under new ownership, both pharmacies will see to it that you get the personal service that you deserve. Want to give them a try? Then call right now, 260-1918, and tell them you want to switch your prescriptions over to the Wellness Park Pharmacy or Community Pharmacy in Niagara Falls. They'll make all the phone calls to make it happen. And both pharmacies offer free home prescription delivery. And when you have them on the phone, be sure to ask about their wide selection of CBD products, available in creams, oils, gummies, and much, much more. Get all the details today by calling 260-1918. The Wellness Park Pharmacy at 86th and Buffalo Avenue and the Community Medical Pharmacy on Michigan Avenue just off Main. Call 260-1918.
Where everybody knows your name, everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Where everybody...
There's a new Mexican restaurant in town. Tasty Mexican tacos and ice cream at 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. Beautifully decorated and ready to serve you. Weekly specials include prime loin tacos for only $10, beef tongue tacos, shredded ribeye steak tacos, beef chalupas with onions and cabbage, rice and bean taco, fried sweet baby fish tacos. You're sure to find something you love at Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine in Niagara Falls. To place your order, call 804-3934. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, featuring that Mexican food you will love, made fresh and delicious every day. Tasty Mexican Tacos and Ice Cream, 20th and Pine, now open in Niagara Falls.
The opinions expressed on NiagaraBroadcastNetwork.com are those of the host and the guest, not of management or the sponsors.
The Salad Row Show.
Is running out. The election's coming up. Maybe it'd be better if I turned on my mic. I keep playing that because this is one of those days. But maybe you could bail me out. Election's coming up, and we've been mulling over a lot of the old election details and the new election details. I do have some interesting comments that I'm going to clear up, but there's a lot of other things I want to clear up too. And joining us tonight, back by popular demand.
By popular demand?
George MAZIARZ.
Hey, Sal, how are you doing?
Boy, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
Tell us about...
Not much has changed in this room, Sal.
No, it hasn't. Doing good with audience, though.
Yeah.
We're getting hundreds of views on each show, and now we put them up on YouTube. So wherever you go, you could say, hey, I was on this, and they'll know right away. Yeah. I was on the Sal Panessa show. Oh, yes, we watch it all the time. And they'll be up on YouTube. But what have you been doing?
I've been retired. Since I retired, I had 3 grandchildren. I spent a lot of time. I'm extremely fortunate. My wife and I are extremely fortunate in that our grandkids just live down the street from us. So I see them just about every day. And I work for a great company. And just kind of relaxing. We have a place in Florida, my wife and I do. So, when it gets a little cold out, I tend to go down there. My wife is still working, so she can't go down as much as I do. But that's pretty much it, Sal.
Are you missing the political?
I read things in a newspaper, about what's going on in Albany, and I think, man, I would have been in the middle of that that particular legislation or controversy between the governor and the legislature. But New York has changed a lot in the last couple of years now. I had the very good fortune in the 20 years I was in the Senate that I was in the majority, and being in the minority is not a lot of fun in Albany.
But although, people said that, and you say I'm in the minority, but people used to say George MAZIARZ was one of the most powerful guys in New York State. If you needed something done, or he wanted something, when he went after it, or I mean, that, being a minority, how does that?
I worked very hard at it. I loved it. I had 20 great years in the Senate. I had 40 great years in public office. But when I went to Albany, I got along great with my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle. I got along good with Democratic governors. I served under 4 governors. David Patterson was and still is a very good friend of mine, as a Democratic governor.
Sure.
It was the Democrats in Niagara County I couldn't get along with too well. But, Sal, you asked if I miss it. It's like everything. You miss people. But I tell you one thing, I do not miss the drive to Albany every week. That got to be a little bit, particularly, when you got into your 60s, that was a little harder to do.
Well, now this brings up the next question.
Yeah.
The rumors are flying.
What do the rumors say?
Oh, yeah. Well, what are you talking about? We're hearing that you are eligible to run again for the Senate, and that Ort may be leaving, I believe that's your old seat.
Yes, it is, yes.
And that you are considering another run for the Senate.
Rob Ort has announced that he's running for Congress. He'd be a great representative in the U.S. House of Representatives. I think, first of all, it's not until next year, so there's a lot of time between now and then. In politics, a day is forever. Rob could change his mind and decide.
Wait a second. Now, you didn't go, oh no, absolutely not. You're not saying that.
One of my colleagues, John DeFrancisco, a state senator from Syracuse, just wrote a book. And it says, never say never in politics. So you never say never, but it's not something that I'm thinking about right now. Again, things have changed in New York State a lot, Sal. The Senate now is firmly controlled by the Democrats, really by the New York City Democrats. I don't see any way that that's going to change, to be honest with you. I think, in fact, I would predict, that the Democrats are probably going to pick up more seats in the Senate come next year. That's, I think, from my perspective, it's unfortunate. But
I am very, very disappointed in Governor Cuomo. I am very disappointed. I mean, the stuff he's come out with, giving illegals driver's licenses, pushing for, it's okay to have an abortion 2 seconds before the baby's born.
It's outrageous.
The different things he's saying.
It's outrageous. What he's doing is he's responding to the National Democratic Party trend, though. They're so far left. This Alexandria or
Cortez or whatever.
AOC, let's just say that.
Yeah, okay.
Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But when she defeated incumbent Democrat, just pulled the whole party to the left. And you look at the presidential candidates, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, they're trying to out-left each other, as far to the left as you can go. You said it, Sal. Abortion in the 3rd trimester, I mean, that is obscene. That is so bad. Man, if I was on the floor during that debate, I'd still be talking to delay that bill. But it is very bad.
It's something like that.
But Cuomo is being pulled to the left by all of these crazy people. He had a Democratic primary from Cynthia Nixon, a far leftist, socialist, whatever. And
yeah, but George, why can't you be true to your own beliefs, your own thoughts? I mean, you know what? I was brought up Catholic, and I'll tell you right now, with the things going on in the Catholic Church, I'm not too proud of the Catholics.
Right.
I'm not too proud of what's going on, the
Right.
cover-ups. And I really, and I don't really
I would
even
tend
call
to-
myself a Catholic anymore.
I would tend to agree with you. I
But-
do call myself a Catholic, and I still go to church, but I'm not happy either.
But if somebody would tell me it's okay for someone to take a baby 2 seconds before it's born, pull it out and snip its neck and throw it in the garbage, I wouldn't even know how to respond to something like
It's
that.
absolutely outrageous. What it is, it's the
I mean,
lies-
is this
it's
for
the
votes?
lies- It's the lies that Planned Parenthood is spreading across the nation, really. Even their own...
Is it for
even
votes,
their
though,
own
George?
executive director is saying that... I'm sorry, their former executive director, former president, whatever her title was, is saying, that Planned Parenthood was just being so disingenuous on the issue of abortion. It's all about, with Planned Parenthood, it is all about abortion. It's not about women's health care.
Right.
It's not about taking care of women.
Right.
It is all about abortion. And some of these pieces of legislation, or this piece of legislation that was passed that you referenced, that the governor shamefully signed, allowing abortion in the third trimester, it also allows non-doctors to perform abortions.
Right,
And
right.
what the reason for that is because more and more doctors today, because of the technology that's available today, won't do abortions. They wouldn't do abortions. And so they put that clause in there that non-doctors can now perform abortions. What the New York law did, though, Sal, if there was any, and it's shameful, you can't even say there was any positives to it, it certainly spurred a lot of other states, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, states primarily in the South, but even Missouri and the Midwest, to come out with some stringent laws opposing, preventing.
But is this
abortions.
move, say by Cuomo,
Yeah.
because this bugs me, is this strictly, well, let's see, there's so many hundreds of thousands of women in the state. If I say abortion's okay because they don't want nobody to tell them what they can do with their body, then I'll get all their votes. Is this strictly for votes?
Absolutely. He is strictly pandering to the left wing of the far left wing of the Democratic Party. A very good Democratic state senator from Queens, Joe Adavo, voted against this bill. He was the only Democrat in the Senate to vote against this bill. And, he just, because he's not pandering to that far left of the Democratic Party. And he's a good man, and I
Well,
congratulate
I
him
think
for it.
you have to be
I don't know if you'll ever see
true.
this show.
Well, it'll be available to
Joe
him.
Adavo.
It'll be up
Good
on
guy.
it's up it'll be up on YouTube after
Okay,
tonight.
I'll let
so.
him know it's up.
But it's just that if that's what you have to do for votes, and you're not true to your own beliefs for a job, for votes, to me, you're,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have to tell you, even people that are pro-choice, identified as being maybe pro-abortion, the majority of them, in poll after poll after poll, would tell you that this New York law is just way too extreme, way too extreme. This was something that was done by the far left to pander to Planned Parenthood. They know that the rate of abortion is going down. They know there's more and more doctors that won't do abortions because of the technology now. I mean, you can see a sonogram at 10 weeks, and you see a head, you see little legs and arms. I mean, just how can you say, in the third trimester you're going to destroy that? It's just.
I don't get it,
And I'll tell you, you want to hear something even crazier? Today I read, because I still get all these news clips from Albany, that a Democratic state senator and a Democratic assembly person, both of whom I know very well, came out with a plan to give a tax credit to parents who had the unfortunate circumstance of a stillborn birth, where their baby was born deceased.
Yeah.
And now they want to give a $2,000 tax credit to these parents to help them with the cost of, because there's a cost associated with that. They're generally you can choose to have a burial and a funeral and so forth.
Right.
But they came out with a
Well, see,
they came out with a $2,000 tax credit for that. So these same people who voted to kill babies in the third trimester want to give a $2,000 tax credit to parents who, lost their baby.
I don't know.
Mind-boggling.
It does. It boggles my mind. A lot of stuff going on we got to ask you about. I'm curious about this. We're in a thing in Niagara Falls. I don't know if you saw about it, but the city council, Kenny Tompkins, has spurred this on. Because the falls is in such bad financial shape, talking about laying off police and firemen and raising fees for garbage disposals. They just... Kenny Tompkins came up with an idea, or actually the idea came out of this show, and it's not a bad idea. But Kenny's running with it, and he's putting in a proposal that the state give us a surcharge on the people that visit the state park.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the people that ride, say, the Maid of the Mist, which I'm against because that's a private business.
Right.
But they say, put a $5 surcharge on the cars that come into the state park. It won't cost the state anything. It won't cost the city anything.
Yeah.
They can recoup the money they need. It's our falls, Niagara Falls. We're the city. It'd be nice to do that. It won't stand them anything. But my thought on it is this. You get 4 councilmen from Niagara Falls, or if we get it, we will have a new mayor. If the new mayor says, we would like you to do this, my thing is, state's going to say, go to hell, we're not giving you. And if we get $5 a car, we're keeping it ourselves, extra $5.
Well, let me tell you that the reputation, let's put it this way, the fiscal reputation of the city of Niagara Falls and Albany is not very positive. You know, the state, I know personally that people in the governor's office and in the controller's office scratch their heads thinking, how could a city, remember, Niagara Falls had the first casino in the city of Niagara Falls, in the state of New York, the first one.
Yeah.
Opened up here. I mean, full gaming casino, table games and all that stuff.
And you were behind that.
Yes,
a lot
I
of it
was.
behind it. And a
Yes.
lot of people complained that you said,
Yep.
well, we should earmark some money for some things.
Right.
Because
Right.
you didn't actually come out and say it,
If
I don't
you
think,
go
but in the
back-
back of your mind, you probably were thinking,
Sal.
because these people will just blow it.
Sal, I have the tapes, from the television shows, from the interviews that I did back in 2002, 2003, and I said it at the time. If you give the city of Niagara Falls the money, carte blanche, you give it to them without any restrictions, they're going to waste it. It's going to end up in their operation and maintenance fund, and it's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. And maybe one of the mistakes I made was actually giving in at the end. We did earmark some for like the Niagara Falls Airport, which has been a huge success. We earmarked some for Niagara Falls Memorial Hospital, for the S5 unit, which was an excellent use for that money. The money that went to the city, they could use it under very extreme titles, economic development. Well, everything was economic development to them, So in Albany, I think they're sitting back saying, what have you done with all the money we've given you? Niagara Falls gets a lot of money in state aid already. They benefit greatly from the parks. Now, let me say this. I got a lot of respect for Kenny Thompson. I like Kenny. I haven't seen the proposal. So it's very difficult to say, whether, I'd be for it or against
Well,
it.
he's asking home rule
Yeah.
that they go and ask
Kenny's
the
a
people
good-
in Albany to
yeah.
do this. And
Kenny's a good guy. Kenny's a good guy. The problem is, what do Assemblyman Mornello and Senator Ort think about it?
Well, apparently, someone called me the other day and said Angela Mornello had given a statement. I haven't seen it yet, but the statement was, I'm not going to support that
Yeah.
because the state gave them a lot of money before, and what did they do with it?
Exactly.
How do we know
Well,
what's
that's
going to
pretty
happen
much-
with it?
yes, that's pretty much what I just said.
Angela just left the show, but we're going to have him come on
So
again and talk about
I
this.
think, certainly without the support of Assemblyman Mornello, Senator Ord, it's going nowhere in Albany. Even, and I say, both Rob and Angela are both very excellent representatives. They're well respected in Albany.
I think they care about the area.
They do.
I mean,
They do. But, I'm not so sure that they could even get it through their respective houses, Again, politics is the Democrats are in control. And what does the Speaker of the Assembly and the Majority Leader of the State Senate feel about it? And I think it's a big if the state did do it, I think there would be a lot of strings attached to it. a lot of very hard strings attached to it. Like perhaps the state would say, okay, we'll give you this money, but we're going to put in place a hard control board. Now again, I'm only speculating. This is only speculating on my part. But will they say, Niagara Falls is in such dire fiscal shape. Niagara Falls has gotten so much money from the casino, and they blew it. Niagara Falls gets so much in state aid, and it doesn't seem to have helped at all. I can think of two cities, Buffalo, obviously, Erie County, and Yonkers at one point had hard control boards. They could do that.
Okay, but we're also getting a change in mayors, and we're going to be changing the direction. Hopefully, the city's going, because I don't think it's gone too well in the past few years. So, I mean, wouldn't that play into it? Wouldn't they say, well, maybe?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to depend on how well the council and the mayor the new mayor work together, and the new council. I don't exactly know who all the candidates are anymore. I don't pay as much attention to that as I used to, but I know like Kenny Thompson, John Spanbauer, very good people. I don't mean to discount the other ones. I just don't know who they are. But Chris Vecchio, I think, is a really smart person. But we'll see how the new mayor and the council get along, and if they can carry a unified message, let's say, to Albany. And I think that message, if I were making a recommendation to them, it would say, listen, if we're in fiscal control. Everybody says they're in fiscal distress. They are in fiscal distress, but it's going to be different. This money is going to be used for X, Y, and Z.
I think, though, my way of
but
thinking.
It's a long.
I'm thinking
shot.
that, and I'm thinking it's going to be very tough to convince the governor
Very
or
tough.
anybody to do this. But I'm thinking you got to get someone who's got the in. For instance, say he goes to his buddy Milstein, who owns tons of property here, and says, and Milstein comes to him and says, hey, if you take care of Niagara Falls and get them out of their problems, if you put the surcharge on, it's going to help me. And I can come over here and do great with all my property.
Howard Milstein's not going to do that. Howard Milstein's not going to do that.
I don't know Howard
not gonna do
Milstein.
that.
But I'm saying, my thought is, somebody's got to have an in with this guy to get this done. It's not going to be a letter that says, oh, the Niagara Falls City Council and the mayor would like you to put $5 on each car that goes into State Park. I don't think that's going to get it.
I don't think it is either. I remember, I used to come to speak to Niagara Falls officials or meetings in Niagara Falls, and people would say how, woe be me, the state is mistreating us, the state park and all the other stuff, and the casino, and I'd go to Albany and I'd have, people in the governor's office saying, we're doing so much for the city of Niagara Falls. We've given them more state aid. We've done. They created a whole economic development agency. That
Sure.
focused just on a 10-block area of Niagara Falls or something. That Chris Shefflin was in charge of for a number of years.
It went nowhere as far as I'm
Went
concerned.
nowhere, right?
Hey, we're going to the phones, 333-3020.
I do think there are new people involved in that now, and I think it's doing better now.
Put your headphones on there, George, and we'll see what the people out there are thinking. Hi, you're on with George MAZIARZ.
Good evening, Senator. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What you were saying about this proposal Kenny wants to do, and I told this to Kenny when he was on Sal's show last week. I think what you're trying to do is putting the cart before the horse, which we've always done in Niagara Falls. I said this should hold off until the new administration comes in. This is exactly what I told them. When the new mayor and the council get to know each other and start working with each other, then you approach your state representatives and say, this is what we need to do. How can you help us? Excuse me. Because like Sal just said, it's not going to go nowhere. There's no bite to it. And what Angel said in the paper is exactly what you just said. He's not just going to support this because we've given him X amount of money, and he doesn't want to give us money to fill their deficit because they've created themselves, and they haven't made the hard decisions. Without knowing what his money is earmarked to, he wouldn't carry this ball into Albany. And this is the problem. They just think that they're voting on it tonight at the council meeting, the resolution. It's not going to go nowhere. They're going about it the wrong way. I'm a big believer, wait for the next administration to come in. Let's work with the new administration, whether it's Glenn Cholokian, Bobby Steiner, or whoever it's going to be, and say, okay, let's work with our state. Because Angelo told me he's never set foot once in Deister's office. Now, you can't ask for better representation than Angelo Morinello from Niagara Falls.
You're right about that.
Because he's born and raised here, and he told me one day, I could do more for the city working as a assemblyman than I could as a mayor. So they have to get on board the right way. You just don't say, we're going to run a resolution, we want this money. It's not going to happen. You know, I told us to sell. You have to make it look like it's the governor's idea. Okay? You follow me, Senator? It's his idea to do it. Let's make it look good.
Well, he's going to take credit for it, I'll tell you.
Well, sure, you take credit for it.
If it comes to fruition, if it's good, he's going to take credit for it.
And like Angelo said, it's not going to happen this year.
No.
If it happens, it's going to be 3-4 years down the road. You have to do it the right way. Let the next administration come in, sit down with our state representatives, and I'm sure if you were still our senator, that's what you would expect. Introduce yourself to a new administration, let everyone get to know each other, and then let's approach the state about this extra revenue.
Well, thank you. Good question. And I can tell you that it wouldn't be taken up until next year, until the next administration is in power anyway, because this is something, first of all, the legislature is not in session now. They're not going to be in session until January. And this is a type of thing that would be taken up within the budget negotiations that take place in January, February, and March. But you're absolutely right. I mean, unless Assemblyman Morinello or Senator Ord are on board with it, it's not going to go anywhere. And even if they were on board with it, it's a tough road in Albany to get it.
Because like you said, we get a lot of state aid. Listen, when Maria Brown was our controller, she kept warning the administration to start controlling your spending.
You are correct.
They never controlled their spending.
No, what they did instead was they got rid of Maria Brown, which was just an absolute shame.
We have good control right now, all right? But like I said, Maria Brown was a good watchdog for the city of Niagara Falls. And it's not going to happen.
She told the elected officials what they didn't want to hear.
Exactly. She told them the truth.
Yes, exactly.
Control the spending because you're out of this money. And they didn't want to believe her. But, it comes down, and I think it's more, to me, this resolution is more of a diversion to get the people off this garbage user fee. All right? And because that seems like it's a big uproar because they got to try to create some extra revenue. Well, I've done my homework. We're not the only city with a garbage user fee. Rockport has one. Buffalo has one. Lewiston has one. There's other communities that all have garbage user fees. And it's something that's coming into play. And unfortunately, we need money. I wish we get besides taxes. So, but I am glad to hear what you said about that diversion or that thing they want to do for the money. It's not going to happen. They have to make the hard choices, and they're afraid to do that.
Thank you.
So,
thanks for your call.
Have a good one.
333-3020. Senator George MAZIARZ is with us tonight, and if you have an idea or a thought, you want to talk to the senator, dial carefully, 333-3020, and we will hear from you. Hi, you're on with George.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm on right now?
Yep, you're on with George. Go ahead.
Okay. It's a real shame. I know we had a group of people that came in and they studied the city of Niagara Falls government in the departments, and they're not doing one of the big things they said is shared services with the county. I cannot understand why that's a big cost savings for the city. If there's a HR department in the county, we don't need one in the city. It's duplication of services in that. If there's purchasing in the county, we don't need one in the city, especially now. You hate to see, cuts in that, but that's where they should be cutting. And the current administration just had deaf ears to those suggestions, and they did nothing. And by the way, I just want to say, it's good to see George Mazars again on a film, and that I know he's done a lot of wonderful things for this area. I know a lot of these Democrats don't think so, but I know Joe and Mary and Leo are looking down from heaven.
Oh, God bless them. God bless them.
Great.
Excellent people.
They're keeping you in their prayers and that.
Well, they were great people, Joe and Mary.
We had more people. George Mazars is a leader, and he exemplifies leadership characteristics in that. And he should be applauded. And, if he could help and suggest with some of these people and help them and mentor them, it would be great. But I just want to say good night and keep up the good work.
Good night. Thank you. He mentioned Joe Leo.
Yeah.
Mary Leo, great people, good supporters of mine from Niagara Falls, just wonderful, wonderful people. Joe was a trumpet player. There's a hell of a band in heaven right now. Joe Leo on the trumpet, Tony Proetti on the sax, Tony Sibilia on guitar. Who else is Ronnie Cosaro on piano?
Oh, yeah. That was some great guys.
Boy, when he mentioned Joe Leo, that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, that's funny. I think they just had the Niagara Falls Music Hall of Fame Awards, and I usually hear from Louis Custodi about it, and I didn't hear who got in this year.
Really?
Yeah. I think it just took place.
Yeah.
But we've had some great musicians in this area.
Oh, we've had some. Well, of course, Tommy Tedesco, but all of them. I just when I was a kid, I used to work at a pizzeria in North Tonawanda, and that whole group, Tony Sibilia and Joe Leo and Ronnie Cosaro and Tony Proetti, used to come to the pizzeria and they jam like on Sunday afternoons or something.
I always thought Niagara Falls has an abundance of great musicians.
Yeah.
And boy, we've seen some lousy
about
politicians.
Yeah. You're right about that, Phil. In fact, there's the Niagara Falls Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm not sure that that's a proper name. Is having their annual dinner this coming Saturday.
I didn't hear about that either.
Yeah, it's at Como at 6 o'clock Saturday.
Well, see, there's a lot of good that is come out of Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
There really is. I mean, there's a lot of great people.
Except the politicians.
Some of them, not all of them. Some of them. We're talking to Senator George MAZIARZ. He asked him if he's going to run again. He didn't say no. We're coming right back.
Let's get real for a
folks.
moment. When you're looking for a home appliance repairman, what do you look for? Well, in most cases, you look for someone who can do the job honestly and do it correctly the first time. Then you look for someone who's reasonable, someone who's going to give you a fair price for the work he does. Well, I got one that's even better than that. He'll give you the best price you're going to ever hear. His name is Chris Moore, and his service call is $35. Got a problem with the stove, refrigerator, freezer, washer, dryer, hey, you name it. If it's a home appliance, Chris can fix it, and he does it for a $35 service call, plus the cost of the parts and installation. Now, I don't know of any other repairman who's had as much experience, over 30 years, as Chris Moore, who will come to your home for a $35 service call. Once you have Chris at your house, you're going to want him back again and again and again, and you're going to recommend him to all your friends and relatives. So you want to have that phone number handy. So what do? Well, let's update. Let's not put it on a piece of paper and stick it somewhere where it's going to get lost or fall off, dry up, and disappear. Put it in your cell phone where you know you can find it when you need it. Because someday you will need Chris Moore's number. It's 523-5911. Chris Moore's Appliance Repair. $35 service call plus the cost of the parts and installation. 523-5911. Put that in your cell phone right now. I had somebody tell me the other day, you're right. I put it in a cell phone and my washer broke. My wife said, call somebody. Right to the cell phone, there it was.
Well, I tell you, Chris is a great guy too. Chris will tell you exactly, what it is. He'll say, look, it's just not worth repairing. You got to get another one.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Or he'll tell you, look, for $100, this thing will last you another.
$35 service call, though.
Exactly.
I don't see anybody that does it. I don't think you can find a guy for
nobody.
$35. But
And Chris comes out to Newfane. I mean, he goes all over the place.
yeah, all over the
good
area.
guy.
Yeah,
Good
great guy. Senator George MAZIARZ, we're talking about the future, the past, whatever. What do we hear from
Nick Wallenda.
Oh my God, there's a name we haven't heard in a while. I hear from him socially, Christmas time, that sort of thing. It must have been on Facebook or something when my grandchildren were born. He called me up, to congratulate me. He's doing fine. He just had that walk in Times Square this summer.
Yeah.
He did that. He's still performing, in different events, Las Vegas and things like that.
Why would a city like ours, and I feel this way, I think they snubbed that guy. I know he wanted to do something here.
Yeah.
Why the hell wouldn't they say, let's put something together, let's let this guy perform at least in the summertime or whatever? I mean, why would they possibly do that to him and not pursue having Nick Wallenda here as a regular attraction?
Sal, Nick Wallenda was very much was very much attached to George MAZIARZ, and some people, if it was a George MAZIARZ idea, they were totally against it. And the administration in the city of Niagara Falls was just not supportive of they weren't supportive of the Wallenda Walk. They tried to do everything they could to stop it. We overrode them at every turn in Albany, thank God. And even when he did end up doing a walk and it was hugely successful and everything, the city sends him a bill for $25,000 or something. Just crazy stuff like that. I don't think that.
I'd say it's kind of disrespect for a guy who brought thousands of people and so much notoriety and coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone else brought up the idea, hey, we can get you on a Today Show for 5 minutes, they go crazy.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who walked over the falls, watched all over the world, and they snubbed the guy.
Front page of every newspaper the next day, every newspaper in the world. It was Niagara Falls.
I still hear people say, I can't believe you had Wallenda on your show.
Yeah,
well, of course, you brought him here.
Yeah.
That was really nice. Couple of times.
Couple of times we were on, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've taken down the plaque that they had in the park.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. Now, it may be like maintenance or something. Well, they'll say it's maintenance, but, it's just sad that, but it is what it is. Yeah, the other disappointing thing was the tourism promotion agencies, the NTCC, when the last casino revenue was paid out, after the Senecas held it up for a while, the NTCC got millions of dollars, and not just the Nick Wallenda attraction, let's say, but any attraction in downtown Niagara Falls, would have been the way to spend that money. I think that the administration, the NTCC, was listening to the administration of the city of Niagara Falls, and I think that they just did everything.
333-3020. George MAZIARZ is with us. You're on the air. Hi. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Senator. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's always a pleasure to see you. I have a bone to pick with you. Where's all that juice you had? Couldn't you have left some juice with us? What do you do, Senator, when you're in a position where you're in the minority? Is there any way you can remain effective? I always wondered.
It's very difficult when you're in the minority in Albany, particularly in the Assembly, I might say, because you have such a small number. There's 150 Assembly members. I don't know exactly, but
I got to interrupt you, though. You keep saying, and I know, caller, you're saying that he's saying minority, but George MAZIARZ, in my opinion, got so much things done around here.
Well, I was in the majority for the most of that time, for all of that time.
Okay.
But in the Assembly, there's 150 members. I believe there may be 105 Democrats and maybe 45 Republicans. Now, Assemblyman Mornello, let me tell you this. Angelo Mornello is very well liked, very well respected in Albany, and that helps. And certainly, in the Senate, it's somewhat new now. The Democrat just took over, a year and a half ago. So, it's something new, but Rob Wirt, I'm sure he's trying down there to get along. I know that they had Governor Cuomo up here a couple of times for the Lake Ontario flooding, but I can tell you, the reality is it's very, very difficult when you're in the minority in Albany. It's kind of structural, if you will. It's almost childish and ridiculous, to be honest with you. You know, the minority members get smaller offices. They get, they don't get the staffing levels. They don't get the good parking spots. I always had a pretty good parking spot right next to the door. So, but I'm sure that Angelo and Rob will put up with it and do a good job.
And you watch how things have changed, and I mean, people in this part of the state have no clue the number of grants you brought into this district. If it wasn't for going through your office, that money never would have saw the city of Niagara Falls, the city of Rockport. And I thank you for it, and the public in their own indiscriminate way, they thank you. But there's one question I want to raise regarding the casino compact.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in that position today, what could you do? I forget it that we've blown the money. We all know that. But the compact itself, if you were at Loggerheads with the Senecas, what would you do? Would you do anything different?
That's a very good question, a very good observation. It's something I've thought about a lot, actually, because, this isn't the first time that there have been starts and stops between the state of New York and the Seneca Nation. I was actually, when I was in the Senate, they had a subcommittee on Native American relations, and I was the chairman of it for a number of years. Probably the last 8 years I was in the Senate. But what it really comes down to is, unfortunately on the state's part, they don't sometimes take the Senecas very serious, and they don't want to sit down and negotiate. They don't feel like they have to sit down and negotiate with them. And that's a big mistake. I'll give you a great example. The debacle with I don't know if there was a debacle, it's probably too strong of a word, but the proposal for this, when the Senecas built that gasoline station right near the casino where Pizza Hut used to be, I think, wasn't it? Right on that area.
Yeah.
When the original compact was negotiated, the Senecas said that they were not going to do, and we specifically stated at the time, no gasoline, no cigarette shops, smoke shops, outside of the casino, anything like that. The Senecas agreed with that. And the state said, we are going to hold Niagara Falls, we're going to hold their feet to the fire, the administration in the city of Niagara Falls, regardless of who the mayor is, who the city councils are, and they are going to use that local share of the money to improve the business area around the casino. That was at Rainbow Boulevard, John Daly Boulevard, Niagara Street, right. and 10th Street, I think, is over there. We are going to, I remember on the map, my God, back then it was Barry Snyder, Cy Schindler, Mickey Brown, blast from the past. But the Governor Pataki, drawing a circle around the area that said this area will be improved with this local share of casino money. So now you fast forward to, I don't know, what was it, 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever the Senecas are saying, we're going to put a gasoline station up. And they're saying, oh no, you promised we wouldn't put a gasoline station up. Well, who didn't keep their word? The Senecas or the city of Niagara Falls, or the state of New York, forcing the city of Niagara Falls to do something. I mean, that area is still desolate down there. I mean, all those shops down there, Flo Ocato's old bar, other than the one bar, I don't think there's even a building that's occupied down there now, between the Gazette and Players Bar. I think Players is the only building that's occupied.
Yeah. There's a few down there, but yeah.
But it's a pretty desolate area. So, so we ended up with a gasoline station in downtown Niagara Falls that, the Senecas felt they had to build to get some.
Well, Senator, I don't want to steal all your time, but I do want to thank you for what you've done for the years.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And I'll close with these words. Never say never.
Never. That's right.
That's what he said.
Never say
Thank you very much.
When I think about, accomplishments, you drive by, particularly in the winter months, starting about now, like in November, December, January, February, March, you drive by the Niagara Falls International Airport, and you see the place is packed with cars, mostly Canadians. But that airport is so successful today. It could be a lot more successful
if the NFTA and the NTCC would do more to market incoming tourism. But
When that airport was being built, and you were on the show talking about it, I know you spearheaded that thing.
Yeah.
Building it up.
yes,
And people said, and you said, well, people travel by air. That's the way
right,
they travel.
exactly.
And so a few months later, we built this $70 million train station
Oh,
that, what do you think about
biggest waste of money. I got to tell you, that is the, again, I promised myself coming on the show I wasn't going to be negative about certain people, but I have to tell you, the planning people in the city of Niagara Falls and the administration of the city of Niagara Falls, I cannot believe. I actually went to the train station not too long ago. There was a forum there.
But here's the good thing, George.
Yeah.
Here's the
What
good
is the
part.
good thing? What is the good thing?
The good thing about it is, since we're not getting too many people coming off the train or going on the train, they're using it for events. So if you have
Right.
if you're going to run again and you need a headquarters or a place to, you could probably get the train station cheap.
There was an Amtrak employee there, and I said, what time does the train come in? He said, oh, well, they're done for the day, and he goes, we don't get many passengers here to begin with. I don't think they have any concession stands in there. Right?
I don't think anybody wanted to go. I think they offered some people, you could have the space of it, but they said, why would I do that?
Right, exactly. No customers. I took the train for probably the first 5 years I was in Albany. I took the train every week. And I can tell you that it just doesn't make sense when you can, Depew at the time was a much bigger station. You can get on and off in Depew. There was one train that actually didn't go through Niagara Falls. The Lakeshore Limited actually came through Buffalo right to Depew and then on to Albany, New York, and whatever. It just did not make sense. What really made sense at the time, of course, no one would listen. If you wanted to have a train station, the Amtrak trains, the track, the actual track that the train rides on, is exactly 0.6 of a mile from the Niagara Falls International Airport. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a transportation specialist, but it would seem to me you had this brand new airport. Now you look at a train station and an airport are somewhat similar in that they handle passengers, they do ticketing, they do baggage handling, things like that. Why not move the track, that 0.6 of a mile, and make the airport more of an intermodal transportation facility, with buses, trains, airplanes. Now, I don't think it would be easy, but it's 0.6 of a mile away now.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. Hey, our phones are ringing, 333-3020. Hang on, we'll get to you. We're talking with Senator George MAZIARZ. We're going to the phones in just a moment.
My name is Glenn Shalokian, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Niagara Falls. This upcoming election might be the most important election in the history of our city. We cannot afford to elect the same type of people with a popular name that is unqualified, that is running for all the wrong reasons. It has been over 30 years of destruction by electing the same type of leadership. On November 5th, please vote for Glenn Shalokian, your only chance for change.
Paid for by the committee to elect Glenn Shalokian. I like to call this the fun time of year. It's time for entertaining and to visit with friends and relatives and to pick out a special gift for a certain someone. You know what that makes it? It makes it the perfect time to visit Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara's largest liquor store with all your favorites to choose from at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Military Roads. Now, if you want a preview, you can check them out online right now at supermarketliquor.com. They're open 7 days a week, late nights, Friday and Saturday till midnight, with plenty of free, brightly lit parking in front of the store. And there's always plenty of cashiers there to speed you on your way if you're in a hurry. But if you want to browse, it's Niagara's largest liquor store with great gift-giving ideas and selections, whether it's wine or liquors. When you're as big as Supermarket Liquors and Wines, a great gift doesn't have to be expensive. And you can see what I mean when you check out their specially custom bottled tequila and bourbons, handpicked by owner Chris Castellani at Supermarket Liquors and Wines. Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Middle Pine Plaza on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just moments from the Fashion Outlet Mall. Visit them soon or check them out right now at supermarketliquor.com.
Great place, especially with the holidays coming up. Hi, you're on the air with George MAZIARZ. Go ahead.
George, it's Dave, man, and it's a pleasure talking to you again.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hanging
Gee,
in
I haven't
there,
heard your
hanging in
voice in years.
Well, you know, when...
Good to know you're still around.
Oh,
And I'm still around.
Still here, man. And I'm going to tell you something. If you ever ran again or anything else, I'm there for you. I mean...
Well, thank you.
You were the guy, man. You were the guy. There's no doubt about it. You know, George, the reason why I called up over here, I am very, very disgusted with what happened here with our city. I mean, as you know, and everybody knows probably throughout the United States over here, that they blew over $250 million. The city is stone broke. Poor decision makers on the council, they go on out and give raises to all the unions. Raises with money we don't even have to pay them. 7-year raises, in fact. Pensions are going up, everything's going up, and yet we're broke. How the heck, don't you think Como or anybody in Albany is looking at this deal, especially since they forwarded money to keep the city afloat here? How come right now that somebody isn't pushing for a control board? We need somebody to run the city because the leadership we have right now just can't do it. It's way over our head. What do you think? How can we get somebody here? It worked in Buffalo. It's working over there in Lockport. And this city over here is a laughing stock. Now they want to hit us with a tote fee. It's going to cost a lot of money. People's rents are going to go up. Property taxes are going to go up. And they're just crippling the city day by day. The crime rate's out of hand. Everything is down the tubes. What do you think, man? What direction can we go? Can we get a control board? Do you have any juice? Do you have anything left where you could maybe advise somebody in Albany or something to come down here? What do you say, man?
Dave, thanks. You know, a control board is I would say it's a very harsh step. I was in the Senate for 20 years, and I can only remember very few instances. Erie County had a control board, City of Buffalo, and the City of Yonkers. Those are the three that I can remember. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. There's what's called a hard control board and a soft control board. You know, the public employee unions tend to be vehemently opposed to them. You can certainly understand why. You know, some people would tell you that, you know, the city of Buffalo today is I know it's in good shape right now, but clearly there was a period there when the city was in pretty decent financial shape. Some people would attribute that to the fact that they had a hard control board for a number of years. The city of Yonkers is doing extremely well today, and I can tell you that the administration there feels that the control board, which predated this administration, was responsible for that. You know, it's a tough step, and it really takes. I almost think that the new mayor, whoever that is going to be, and the new city council, are going to. If they're on the same page with it, you know, I don't see how the state could turn it down. But the mayor and the council have to be on the same page.
I don't think you're ever going to see a mayor or a council go, come on in here and tell us what to do, because we can't do it.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though? The fiscal realities may require that, though, Sal. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
if they can't pay the
you can't
bills,
go on
I'll
like
tell you
this.
something. I'll tell you, if they can't meet the payroll or something like that, you know, that's when the rubber meets the road.
And especially right now when there's so many poor people. This is a very poor town. The smart people all moved
extremely
out,
poor.
and that's it. And now they're coming out with fees. Can you imagine a $250 garbage fee? That's per unit. If you got a 2-family home, you're paying $500. If you got a 4-family home, you got $1,000. And then plus they want to raise your property taxes. I mean, it just, you can't do this to a poor city. But yet, our council over here, they still have insurance opt-outs for $10,000 that nobody's given up. Man, where do you draw the line on this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets me sick to my stomach, George. It seems like we're helpless, and nobody wants to do anything about it. They want to just cave into the unions because they're looking for their votes. And look at us now, man. Shame on us, what's happened to the city. I mean, even Pine Avenue. I mean, you know Pine Avenue. 65 empty storefronts, Lawyers' offices have moved out. We've even had a funeral parlor over there that moved to Military Road. If he was making money over on Pine Avenue, believe me, he would have stayed there. I mean, this is what's plaguing Niagara Falls. And then, like everybody's laughing about that train station. Or the sculptor in front of Hotel Niagara, the circle over there.
Yeah.
They put that bunch of scrap iron up over there, and now there's 1.5 to 2 feet of weeds and grass.
Yeah, right.
I bitched at the mayor today on Tom Darrow's show, and he goes, well, we don't have the money and we don't have the manpower, but yet they found the money over here with this Greenway Commission to put that scrap pile up.
And how much did it end up costing?
$650,000.
You know what it was first proposed at? $250. I went crazy. I started screaming $250,000 for this. Are you insane?
Well, I think we spent like 180 just to do the foundation. The city put their money in. It was just
And
crazy.
see, it's like anything in Niagara Falls. It started out at $250. It was obscene and ridiculous project. At $600, I mean.
Crazy.
It's just insane. And you know what they did to kind of, I remember, I don't know who was the governor at the time, but I remember, going crazy about that issue too. And they put up a plaque instead for some Boundary Waters treaty that nobody ever heard of.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's right across the street. That's right across from that thing. The plaque is there with that stone, with that monument. But
it was supposed to be. The plaque was supposed to be instead of the monument, but, and look, I'm not saying, when I left office, they came up, the monument came back. It got reborn again.
Dave, thanks. I'm going to try to squeeze in one more,
Thanks,
buddy.
Dave.
George, man.
Thanks, Dave.
See if you can come back, man. We really need you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take a quick one here. One more quick call.
Okay, sure.
George MAZIARZ, you're on with him. Hi, go ahead. Hello, you're on. Did you hold? They didn't hang on.
They didn't.
They didn't hang on.
Oh, well.
So, you know what?
All right, Sal.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Only your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer has genuine parts, accessories, trained service technicians, and the widest selection of innovative Cub Cadet products. We're here for you whenever you need us, with expert service and support to keep your equipment running at peak performance for years to come. Take advantage of exceptional financing at your local Cub Cadet dealer today.
Stop by your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer, Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment, today.
Go out there and see Mike Richards. They got some great deals on the outgoing this year's lawnmowers. I mean, now's the time to save some money. And you want to see some terrific snow blowers. I'm talking about 3-stage, I can't even explain them. They look so great. The Cub Cadet snow blowers over there at Niagara Lawn and Garden, just off Military Road on Route 31. Go see Mike Richards. Good deal for those of you to get ready for, I hate to say it, Senator, but winter coming up. Well, look we kind of went through a lot of stuff today.
We did.
A lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
You still didn't tell me whether or not you're going to run for senator again, but I got to ask you.
Yes.
If you decide to, will you come back here?
Absolutely,
and let
I
us
will.
know?
Absolutely, I will. We have a great senator right now in Rob Orton.
He is a good man.
Hopefully get elected to Congress.
I've had Rob on the show, and I got to get back to him and have him come on again. I'd love to have him back. Quickly, what is the situation with, and I know you had with the Batavia Downs and all that thing. What is I got about a minute left. What's the status of all that?
There's a grand jury that's been impaneled in Buffalo. There's an investigation going on by the State Controller's Office and the New York State Gaming Commission, and I expect that grand jury will be acting very soon, and I think people are going to be stunned and surprised at what that grand jury is going to find. Very disappointed that the county legislature, the Niagara, the Erie County legislature have not taken a stronger stance. This is public money, and it clearly has been being used for private purposes, which is a violation of the law. We'll see what the grand jury does, but I think people are going to be surprised and disappointed.
George, if we don't see you before the holidays, I just want to say happy
Nice
holidays to
Happy
you. And
holidays to
you're
you.
welcome
Merry
back
Christmas.
anytime, and thank you for
Christmas is the
stopping
best
us.
time of the year when you're a grandfather.
It's a cool time. It is, yeah. Good luck. Thank you, and hope to see you again. And let us know if you make that decision.
Thank you.